And you might say, oh, who could be the imbecile who is talking about a flat earth? Or you could say, who believes that the earth is flat at this point in time? Or say, is there anyone who has consistent arguments to say that the earth is flat? All these three different ways represent three distinct levels in which you are approaching a topic. Honestly, my reflection was a bit ironic, to be honest and admit it, but it was more like, okay, let's listen, let's pay attention to who today can say the earth is flat and why they say it. Okay, I grew up with the globe. I love the globe. You see, I have pictures, I have books on astronautics, books on astronomy a lot, because it was a topic that fascinated me since I was a very young child. So when someone says the earth is flat, I said, well, who can think that the earth is flat? I immersed myself 24, 48, 72 hours to see everything there has been about the flat earth and those who refuted the flat earth. So you go, you come back, you go, you come back, and you stay there. In my case, that after 72 hours, you say, it's over, but you don't want to accept it. So you go back and forth, you watch videos of those who refute the flat earth and say, no, it has to be spherical, but I said it yes, but then you go back and say, right, but this argument, how do you destroy it? So there are several things that become interesting. First, the legitimate right to doubt. Can anyone question that we don't have the right to doubt? That the word of science is sacrosanct? That the debate is closed? We have nothing to talk about. I don't think so. It's just as legitimate to say, well, let's analyze it. You can't start by saying, this is not possible. No, because if not, you've already entrenched yourself, you've already made a conceptual, intellectual decision to say there's no option. I believe one of the fundamental things is doubt. Well, is it true that everything they've taught us about science is effective, or could it not be? Not, guys, well, actually, do we know it's spherical, or do we believe it's spherical? Any person, a common citizen, asks themselves, do I know it's spherical, or do I believe it's spherical? They cannot say they know. Why? Because not a single one of us has gone out into outer space to observe this globe. What we've seen are the images from movies, from television, from books, and what they taught us in school. Therefore, it's an act of faith and belief. It's a belief in what we were taught and what we have seen. We flat earthers, we are not believers in a flat earth. We think it's flat. It's an act of reflection. If we consider our world a sphere with a curve, that curve indicates objects should disappear as they move away in a calculated relationship. There are tables from Unclear, from other mathematicians, or you can derive it geometrically. This therefore indicates that the city of Chicago cannot be seen from St. Joseph on the other side of Lake Michigan. The Sears Tower is 527 meters tall. And it's completely visible. The island of Kauai, also known as Kauai, from the island of Oahu, it's also visible. It shouldn't be visible at all, yet it's completely seen. Mount Canigou from Marseille, Corsica from the other side of the Italian coast. Buenos Aires shouldn't be visible from the city of Colonia in Uruguay. Buenos Aires shouldn't be seen. And there's the complete profile, the skyline with the silhouette of all the buildings. That's geometry again, because it shouldn't be visible, yet it is. What did Magellan do? Magellan did this. That's called circumnavigating, and that's what airplanes do. They fly around in circles. If I leave my house here and go around the entire block completely and return to my starting point, I went all the way around. But if I then say the ISS feet, where you see the transparent parts, how the astronauts distract you. They're always playing with a little ball. Don't these guys ever work? Look at say under the images from inside the ISS, and my son's bedroom is 15 years tidier. It's a tangle of cables. If a micrometeorite hits or any accident happens, you wouldn't know what to plug in or unplug, where to enter, where to exit, everything full of nets, things stuck to the walls. It's a joke.
You look at it today and say, how could we be such idiots?
You see the scene where the girl shows her hair stiff from hairspray. Then she tells you, look, I'm in outer space with zero gravity. And she shows you her hair and you say, you know what? They must think we deserve it for being idiots, for falling for all that. If it's a joke, I really think they must be dying of laughter. Yesi, yasi necesita inoseta.
What do you think of NASA's photos that show the Earth is round?
Please, see the official blue marble photos from 2002, 2007, 2012. The American continent has absolutely different proportions, and we never noticed that. Why? Because we are naive and gullible. I mean, if your teacher told you, did you ever doubt it? Gonpato. If your grandpa told you, showed you this globe and said, you live here, and you were 5 or 6 years old, you'd say, Grandpa, are you lying to me? Is Tina world flat? Well, that's the part that makes one feel a little sad, because the flat earther's journey is a tough one. And on top of that, if you're just trying to question, to analyze, to reevaluate, you're reviled, you're blasphemed. Some people have insulted me, and I've told them, let's have a coffee and talk about it. You think that we are on the thing, Kiri. There are on opposing sides here, I'd say. You are a seeker of the truth, and I am too. We flat earthers, in fact, have always maintained we don't own the truth. We are simply questioning the current model. And we don't have to convince anyone. It's a personal decision and a journey. I have my opinion, and you have every legitimate right to have yours. If they prove to us that it's spherical, what will we say? That we were mistaken. That's the problem. There was no right to even raise doubts.
I'm not trying to come off like one of those crazy conspiracy theorists, but if the North Pole looks like this, what were our ancestors on? Like, how did they... Like, over and over again. This wasn't just one. Like, they kept drawing these 4 continents with 4 rivers. Like, maybe something to think about.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 1 of a 1,000-part series about how we know Jaron Campanella was never really a flat earther. Welcome to part 1, folks. Let's get right into it. Today I was watching a TikTok live with Jaron Campanella in it, and he mentioned flat earthers don't understand that you're not going to notice the motion of Earth spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator because we're just too small and Earth is just too big. Brother, did you barely come across this information recently because you claimed you were a flat earther for 15, 20 years or whatever, right? My first time digging into flat earth, I heard that excuse all the time. Every globe person would say it. They would all preach it back. You just don't understand how small you are. You're telling me, after 15 to 20 years, that barely clicked in your head, just today, that, maybe we're just too small. That barely clicked in your head now? Huh? I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so. Hey, why don't you get your goddamn psyop ass right out of our community, huh? You see, we aren't playing games anymore, boy. You never were a flat earther. You're a disgrace. Get your ass out of our community. And remember, stay flat, my buds.
Okay, I'm asking for a friend, and this is for you globies out there. Globies, globers, whatever you want to call yourself. Anti-flat earthers and angry people. My question for you is, when you go outside and you look up at the stars, like Little Dipper, Big Dipper, Orion's Belt, the constellations, you look up and you go out there and they're up there for hours. They're just there. Like they're in the same spot. I mean, maybe they'll move a little bit, but if the Earth is spinning on its axis and is rotating around the Earth at however many miles an hour that they say, why are the stars stationary? They don't move at all. No matter where I've been, like in the world. Like maybe they're slightly shifted, but they're just always in the same spot. Please answer.
Little land, do you see what I see?
Point of advice. If you're going to make fun of flat earthers, make sure you're using the right map. Welcome to the real map of the world and reality. Hawaii, and there's Japan.
Do you see what I see?
I am going to show you how to realize that we are being deceived. Ask yourself this next important question. Why do they have to follow this specific route on the flight from Sydney to Johannesburg if the Earth were truly round? This is the flight path that planes follow when traveling from Sydney to Johannesburg, and they are required to make a stop in Dubai. Now, for the actual route from Sydney to Johannesburg, it's assumed that on a spherical Earth, they should follow this particular path. From here, Sydney, in a straight line, all the way to Johannesburg. But mysteriously, they don't follow that trajectory. Instead, they make an additional stop and first travel from here to Dubai, and from Dubai, they then go towards Johannesburg. But it just doesn't make any sense. O does it truly make any sense for you to spend thousands of additional dollars on fuel for your airline? But if we take a closer look, the route from Sydney, passing through Dubai, and then arriving in Johannesburg makes a great deal of sense. Simply draw a straight line on the map of the flat Earth. Oh, wow! The air routes prove that the Earth is flat. By investigating, we can come to know the truth that they are hiding from us. So, one of the pieces of evidence that the Earth is flat is the very same airplane routes, because if we trace their routes on a map of a supposedly spherical Earth, some of these routes simply don't make any sense. But if we trace them out on the map of the flat Earth, it makes a great deal of sense. As you can clearly see for yourself, you have been consistently deceived, as I will keep uploading more content about the truth that they are hiding from us.
I have to ask y'all, so my family was having a heated discussion last night about if the world is flat or not. I need to get y'all's take on it. What do y'all think? Because the one thing that really convinces me is the flight patterns or flight routes and everything on a flat Earth versus a globe. So let me know what y'all think.
You want to know why the Earth is flat? Here's how I know. Have you literally ever looked outside the window of a plane? Literally, it's that simple.
96. It's a big boy. So I got two big guests. Big names, big bodies.
Huge.
Yeah, I don't even know if I introduce you to. You got Rampage the Legend Jackson here. You got Bradley. Meet me at 260. Martin.
How much you weigh right now?
Why people care if people believe in the Earth the way the Bible describes it? Why do people get so mad about that?
Does the Bible describe it as flat?
Yeah.
It does?
With the dome, the firmament, and everything.
Oh, that's news to me.
That's new. You never read the Bible?
No.
That's the problem.
That is a problem. So why go to hell?
So why do people get mad at people if they just describe the Earth the way the oldest history book describes it?
Yeah. So does this mean you think it's flat?
Yep.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
But what were you gonna say about?
This is what changed me when I looked into emergency landings. Something simple as that. That's what changed me to go more to like, oh yeah. Then I went to the Bible and started reading with the Bible. And, I used to be a Christian, so I was like, oh, I've read this stuff before, but we think of it different. I went there. Now I look at the Old Testament like a history book, and so I went and read it and like a history book. I was like, oh, okay, it broke everything down for me. But if you look into whenever you have time, just look into emergency landings.
What do you mean by emergency landing?
Like when say somebody's flying from Asia coming to LA,
yeah,
and like if it's an emergency or something, and then see like the way they landed, then you gonna think like wow, that's not an emergency landing. They went all the way out the way, and then you got to break down why did they do that? Why they go all the way out the way? And they say it's an emergency landing. That's what changed my mind.
Why would they go all the other way?
Exactly. That's his point.
Exactly.
But why would that prove that the Earth is flat if they go out of the way?
Because if it was an emergency, a real emergency, wouldn't you go somewhere closer?
When you go somewhere closer?
And not somewhere out of the way?
When we see the emergency landing on the globe, it don't make sense.
Oh, because it's like this.
Yeah, so it's farther away.
Yeah.
So common sense would tell me that we're being lied to about the geography of our things.
Why lie to us about the Earth being round, though?
That's the big question.
Nixon called the moon on a landline. He called them up and they answered straight away. They didn't have mobile phones back then, and they had to make notes with paper and a pen. But the landline worked and there wasn't a delay. Oh, the past through radiation. radiation fire. They didn't conspire, so don't inquire. They didn't wear wires and they're not liars. They wore the attire, they're not actors for hire. They passed through radiation fire in a craft that looked like a tumble dryer. But they didn't wear wires and they're not liars. So just believe what I say. Was black and white, but they managed to get to the moon just right. Cause of 1969 technology, oh, they passed through radiation fire. They didn't conspire, so don't inquire. They didn't wear wires and they're not liars. They wore the attire, they're not actors for hire. They passed through radiation fire in a craft that looked like a tumble dryer. But they didn't wear wires and they're not liars. So just believe what I say. With all that, then you probably think the earth is flat. You don't understand science, you believe in giants, and it's just more conspiracies. Oh, they passed through radiation fire. They didn't conspire, so don't inquire. They didn't wear wires and they're not liars. They wore the attire, they're not actors for hire. They passed through radiation fire in a craft that looked like a tumble dryer. But they didn't wear wires and they're not liars. So just believe what I say.
The Flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.